Are we live? Okay. Hello, everyone. Today is June 16, 2023, and we are in the community update number 14. I'm Delfim, the head of marketing at RealFevr, and I'm thrilled to be joining you today in the first community update I'm participating in. It's an honor to have the opportunity to support our CEO, Fred Antunes, and sharing exciting updates and insights with all of you. Before we dive into the questions, Fred, is there anything you would like to cover first?
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. It's great to do this community call um, once again. And first, let me say that the only reason why we are not doing this like weekly basis as we used to do is just to, uh, do not overexpose communication and at the same time try to focus on the product and not, every week bringing new stuff. But well, we are in the very critical moment of the whole crypto economy, as you probably all noticed. But I would like to highlight two things. The first one is I think we are one of the few crypto companies on planet Earth that delivers more features and more products um, over time, and that is something that we are fully committed always to do. And the second one is we have never been as much motivated as we are today. You know, of course, we can't hide our frustration with everything we have been doing and the whole macroeconomic situation. But as I always said, we can't build um, a very successful company based on token price or based in singular opinions without a long-term vision and a long-term strategy, um, and that's our biggest commitment, you know is really to execute what we have been always saying and even innovating over what we have said that we will do. So before we jump into the questions, and also we have the live chat going on, and I want to bring it here because I'm not on, we are not going only to reply to your questions that you sent us, but also real time, whatever you want to clarify, ask, whatever. We are here to provide that information. So it was like a long period that we didn't do any community update. So I think whatever time is needed today, we will be here to clarify as best as possible, all your questions and also share what is our current vision. So I want to highlight here, um, probably in the last couple of months, you have been seeing a different approach in the communication and what is the big thing that we are trying to bring to our ecosystem. Um, in the last year, me personally, I have been making a lot of questions to myself about what's the meaning of Fever token? What does it mean? What's the meaning of the packs? What's the meaning of the drops? What's the meaning of Fever Battle Arena? Why is it called Fever? Why is it called Battle Arena? Why is it called packs and drops? Making these questions. And even if you open Battle Arena, there is one crucial moment where there is an arena called Lisbon, and there is another one called Miami. And even for me, I was playing, and why is it called Lisbon and why is it called Miami? And to be quite honest, there is no, substantial or there is no real, guidance in terms of those names. Lisbon is because we are from Lisbon, and Miami probably because the designer who did it would love to be in Miami, and then it was called Miami. That was something in our product that we could not keep having it because most of the crypto companies they forget the how to glue all the products at the same time with one single narrative and one single storyline. And because we are a gaming company, that definitely is something that must be present. So one of the key things that you are going to see in the future, um, you know, over time, more and more and more, is the deploying of our lore. For those who are not familiar with the word lore, um, lore in the gaming industry represents the history of the game, represents the history of the ecosystem, and brings reasons and brings storylines to those things that are happening. So what we wanted was to create a delightful storyline that people will not be only engaged with the product just because of a speculative reason, or because you are waiting the moments to pump, or the token to pump, or whatever, but we must go deeper. We must go deeper. And our inspiration is in Marvel, is in Game of Thrones, is in Disneyland, is in World of Warcraft, of course, because as you know, I've played a lot, and we try to create our own lore, and how to glue the pieces and bring the meaning to what we have today. So I really want to share my screen with you with three key moments that we have already communicated, and probably some of you didn't pay the right attention or didn't give enough value. And I want really to bring that value, because I believe, you know, for us to have a super successful company, it can't be just pump and dump and, pump the things isolated and done. Because when everything goes down, if we don't have something bigger, we will not be able to hedge the market as we want to do. So let me share my screen here. And so I'm going to start with the first one. So here, it was the first time that we communicated these hands. And if you take a look in the past, those hands were not here. But also at the same time, if you take a look at the drop, there is already an insignia here. And this is also a symbol of what is about to come. And as we already wrote, we are talking about the prophet of the beach. I can't say that much things about, the lore for the future. I just can comment what we have done up to today. But what we wanted was somehow to reinvent the model of the packs, not only packs and moments and NFTs, but also something a bit more deep, and something that would fit in the whole ecosystem as one. Now, the second thing that I also want to highlight is Yankar. And Yankar, um, besides of course the partnership with DFB that was already announced, and the successful one from the other competition, I want to bring down and scroll down, once again for the law. And if you take a look, I'm going to read it, so everyone can pay attention to this, because this is here since the last 1 month and a half, 2 months, and it is written: Yankar, the Rogue Syndicate, is a clandestine underground society ruled by the Lord of Chance, whose members are anonymous. Their mysterious and dark initiatives embody their joy for the thrill of the game, and its members are united by the values of chaos, greed, and power. So, what do we mean for Yankar? What we want to do for Yankar? First, Yankar is an anagram for something big, but also Yankar opens our ecosystem outside the packs and battle arena. So the idea for Yankar is to keep developing this gambling, betting approach that we always refused in the last 2 years. And definitely that is a business vertical that we want to explore. But also Yankar, the rogue syndicate, will activate the biggest whales in the ecosystem to be part of, I can't call it like a decentralized autonomous organization, but to be part of something that they will participate actively in the decisions of what happens in Yankar. You know, and I think those staking pools with an utility to participate in the decisions of Yankar is definitely good, and also listen anonymously everyone that have those tokens to move on. Now the third one, and because this should not last like a lot of minutes, I want to bring also the referral. So the referral dashboard, um, there is also a new tease of something new. You know, who is the queen behind, right? And if you open the refer a friend, um, there are also these campaigns. I'll speak about it later because probably there will be questions about it. I can clarify, but I'm just bringing what we have in our minds to move on in terms of gaming. So of course there is a recruiter friend, but there is one moment where we say who is the queen and who is the queen. So the fearless leader of the city of the sky. What is the city of the sky? You know, graceful in all proceedings, respect relentlessly, and now in grave danger. Since her arrival, the Queen has been a powerful beacon of hope for humanity. Now she needs us more than ever. We spent really a lot of time, you know, figuring out and creating, inventing a storyline, a narrative, for our ecosystem to glue all the pieces. And there will be different characters, there will be different superheroes. So when what we want is when you visit RealFevr for the first time, you enter in a new, completely, fantasy virtual ecosystem that stimulates not only your speculative or economic activities or crypto economic activities, but also you enjoy it as if you would be watching, a super blockbuster movie that would engage you a lot of hours in front of television. And definitely is what we are chasing here. In terms of business model, those are the first campaigns that we are exploring. But now we have a system that can help us a lot as a community to gather and bring more people to the ecosystem with the right incentives or the right economic incentives while you are engaging with us and while you are sharing this through your personal networks. So those three things, um, the profit of the pitch in the packs and drops, second Yankar, and third the recruiter friend, are three features that are enabling us to completely scale up the project and at the same time engage with users that are not connected with us today. But when they come here for the first time, this is not just a crypto project, is much more than that. So with that said, I don't want really to manipulate the conversation because it's not the intention. Also, I could speak like 6 hours in a row about everything that we have been doing, but I believe all the questions will cover most of the topics, so I prefer, to move on with that. And before Delphine goes with the questions, let me just say that I didn't check the questions list. I didn't check Twitter in the last 48 hours to guarantee that I would not prepare any kind of, censorship for myself about what I could say and what I can say and what I cannot say. So as you know, I hate it, and I will listen to questions for the first time here, and I should be able to reply to all of them. Let's go, Delphi.
Okay, let's move into the questions then. We have over 70 questions, so it's a lot to cover today. Let's start with Pedro questions. And his first question is regarding the referral system. And he is asking if the system seems interesting for big influencers. However, it seems unattractive to bring new people in as there is no immediate reward, and for members with little reach, it seems to be very difficult to be rewarded. Even more, so if it's not someone interested in playing Battle Arena, are changes expected soon in the referral system?
Yeah, definitely. So I already had the opportunity to, um, reply to that a bit on our Telegram a couple of days ago, but I can clarify to all of you. I think there are no questions if we decide to do a recruit a friend program where we give $100 to every single person that you bring to the ecosystem. We all agree that would be magnificent, and the ecosystem would grow, exponentially if we would pay $100 to every single new user who would play, 3 games in Battle Arena, use one ticket, whatever we decide. Now, that would be really the easy shortcut to do. But to build a successful company, we cannot just deploy capital as a dump, in a dump way. So the first thing that we wanted to have working was a full referral program that could integrate all the pieces of our ecosystem. And now that we have it, of course, we are going to monetize it as best as possible. So expect in the next couple of weeks to be single programs where for a short period of time we are going to test $5, we are going to test $10, we are going to test $1, you know, and the model that we are going to use in Recruit a Friend are always races. What are races? Races are short-term competitions, 24 hours, 48 hours, 1 week eventually, where we can define, we cover $5, $10 per new user acquired, but the winner of that race in 48 hours, we pay $1,000 on top. I'm just giving you examples, attention. I'm not saying it is the final models. I'm just saying what we have in our mind in terms of acquisition. But before we deploy this kind of economic incentives, we will need to have the technology ready to deploy this kind of economic incentives. So those races, we will announce them, and let's say next Saturday in 24 hours there is a race for $1,000 prize. Who will be able to bring more people to the ecosystem? And the winner will take 1,000. And each user will take $1, $5, $10, and I'm not talking only about Fever as reward. I'm talking really about USDT or Bitcoin or Ethereum, whatever. So definitely the referral system, the inception is done, and now it's about the marketing team to try out and test for the smallest amount of money how much people can we acquire, and then we scale, in terms of capital deployment. Because to start with, let's say $100 to each new user we acquire, this will be a huge success. I think no one will disagree, but the cost of acquisition will be dramatically high when we don't have already numbers and track record about what is the player value of our products. And because of that, we need to collect data. But I think the inception is done, and the whole lore, the whole storyline behind it, I think you will love it. So yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Fred. Let's move to the second question from Pedro, and is regarding the uniques. So far, the transaction that brought the most impact and recognition to the project was the Bruno Fernandes unique. Until now, a unique has never been transacted. Do you think there is no appetite for the rarest and most valuable NFTs category in the ecosystem?
Um, well, first of all, the price that people ask for a unique is, insane. So I think that is the first reason why uniques never been transacted that much. Because in fact, Bruno Fernandes, if I'm not mistaken, was sold for $92,000 on top of the bull market. So I think that is a one very nice example about it. So far, the current price of uniques when they are in the marketplace, people is asking half a million, $1 million for them, and I think that is the main reason, because if the price would be 20,000, 30,000, eventually they will be traded. But the second point is, I've been talking with some friends yesterday about collections and everything, and the best example that eventually I can give you is if you take a look at Marvel books. the ones from the 50s and the 60s are the most expensive ones. And why? Because they are old. So this does not apply only to RealFevr, but applies to the whole NFT industry. If you take a look at the value of Bored Apes today, CryptoPunks today, whatever, if you picture that value in 10 years, to 20 years, to 30 years, it will be an asset registered in a blockchain, you know, uh, for really a long term period. And definitely, I think the highest value, we need time. And sometimes we are not really used to be patient in crypto. That is a huge mistake. You know, I've waited like 10 years to see Bitcoin at $60,000, and people now want everything in 10 days or 10 months, which is completely wrong. Completely wrong. But I respect if someone has a different opinion as mine. But straightforward answer, I think the value that people ask for uniques is insane at the moment, and that's the only reason why they are not traded.
Indeed, Fred. Now, Miguel Martinho, about Yankar. Yankar has been an innovative idea with a lot of adherence. In the future, will it be the same for final games, cups, or will be there one Yankar per month or something like that? Hmm.
Um, the nature of Yankar is really like our um, homenagem. How do I say it in English? It's like our tribute to the the fundamentals of crypto anarchism. And in the fundamentals of crypto anarchism, there is no routines, you know. So it can't be one per month fixed with 12 per year. That is the first thing. So definitely Yankar must have always that nature of crypto anarchies and try out stuff that no one is trying out. Um, but I think as long first it's a vertical that is much easier for us to secure IP rights compared to a huge archive, for the packs and drops. So it's much easier to set up a contract with a right holder, and it's much easier to acquire those rights. Now, if you ask me, are we going only to stick to football, or are we going to explore other sports? Definitely, Yankar can explore other sports because the final of Super Bowl is really super cool. For example, to do Yankar, right? But in the other hand, there is also something that will be effectively associated to Yankar, and then that one I think I can disclose, which are the staking pools. So one of the next features that you will see in Yankar are gamified staking pools. So very simple, abstract description. There is a staking pool with a huge APR, and instead of getting a moment as a reward, if you choose the right minute and the right player, you will have access to that specific staking pool. So that staking pool is exclusive access for the winners of Yankar, and the amount that is in the pool is distributed by the winners. So if there is just one winner can take all the pool. If there are two winners, they will need to split 50-50. If there are three winners, they will need to split by three, four winners by four, and so on. So that I think is something that we can bring to the market, where we gamify a staking pool. In one hand, we burn fever. In the other hand, we stake fever, and we give a reward for those who have picked the right moments in game. So that definitely is something that we want to try out with Yankar. Also, other mini games that we want to try out in Yankar that I cannot disclose. I agree with my team that not that much information. This about the gamified staking pools, I love it personally. So I'm too tired of connect wallet, stake tokens, wait for the end of the pool, unlock them, get the interest. It's too boring. We need to reinvent the things in a bear market. When there is blood in the streets, is a moment where we need to try out new stuff. And I think this option, about gamified staking pools for someone that won a betting uh, moment, that is a bet, that's definitely a good option.
Yeah, and the community needs to understand that Yankar is not just about the prediction game. There will be multiple mini games that
Yeah.
Yankar will have, and will have an impact in the ecosystem with the burning of fever, etc., etc. And I think that this feature that Fred is talking about fits very well the Yankar, and it unleashes the limits that we have regarding our IP of the moments of certain final of a cup, and with these staking pools we can do the Yankar more regularly throughout the year, as Miguel is asking. Now let's move to the next question, and it's from Jordan Fonseca regarding the market. The Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong said that the SEC told him everything other than Bitcoin is a security. Should RealFevr be concerned?
um, no, no, and I can explain why. This is a very smart question. um, Very simple. I think SEC in the last years have been playing around to do not provide clarity to the industry, so the industry could not grow because of uncertainty. We have the privilege to be in a jurisdiction, which is Europe, that, in my opinion, is at the moment the best possible jurisdiction to have a crypto Web3 business. Why? Because Americans, they will shit against crypto companies as many times as they want, because they don't want to provide clarity, and that is the biggest problem in the market right now. But in Europe, our situation is completely different. First, because MiCA, Markets in Crypto Assets Regulation, is already published, and next year will be implemented in all the European members. The second one is there is a law mechanism that exists in America that is almost impossible to have in Europe. And I tell you what it is. It is law enforcement. So SEC has the power to say today that Ethereum is a security, and they have the power to say tomorrow that the Ethereum is no longer a security; it's now a commodity. And the regulator has that power, to create laws without, or to create directions, guidelines that they need to be enforced in the market. Now, in Europe, um, it's different, because for you to approve whatever law, you need all the countries to vote and agree with that. And there are huge discussions, and forums of discussion before anyone do whatever. So Europe usually is much slower than United States in terms of innovation, because United States has more power to decide upfront. But regarding to regulatory stuff that is harmful for the industry, I really consider that Europe at the moment is the best jurisdiction in the world, and just because it is the one that provides more clarity and provides more definition about what will be the future of this industry. So I'm not saying the regulation is good or bad, but definitely for me, as an investor, as an entrepreneur in Web3, what I want is to know the rules, and I want to have a guarantee that the rules will not be changed, as the wind change. I want to have a long-term guarantee, and definitely Europe is providing that to this industry. So RealFevr is an European company. Um, we don't have any subsidiary or any effective commercial or holding activity in the United States of America, so we are completely out of the SEC scope. And regarding to European regulation, I would say we are one of the few companies, and when I say few, it's really few. We are one of the few companies in Europe with um, with a huge level of compliance for our size, and I'm 1000% with markets in crypto assets regulation, and I'm pretty sure that we are not doing anything wrong at this stage.
Fantastic answer. Now let's move to Bullish Miles, Fever Sorare. He has a question regarding the community. Lately, there have been productive discussions and suggestions on Telegram about the project. Don't you think it could be important to do it on a regular and programmed basis, with the presence of at least one member of the team so that you have more minds to think for you?
Yes, definitely, and that's why Yankar will have the Rogue Syndicate model where everyone will be able to participate in those discussion forums. The only thing that I want to guarantee, because it's really a huge concern, is privacy. And one thing is when we, like, I give you one example. The beta testers of Fever Battle Arena, they have to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, with with their personal names, addresses, whatever. You know, almost a KYC to be a beta tester in RealFevr. And that is a type of compliance that we can't avoid. But I think we need to provide to community a different forum where I don't need to know who you are. I just need to know that you have a good amount of fever, so you are committed with the project, and of course, I want to hear what you have to say. So we need to find out a way to filter, the noise and the toxic noise versus the real holders, and that's why Yankar will bring that opportunity. So people with fever and people with NFTs, definitely, I want personally to be more in touch with them versus people that is just there creating sometimes panic, and they have one or two packs and 100 fever in a wallet. How can we identify this difference? And that's exactly what I want to solve out with Yankar. So completely agree with this question, and yes, it will be implemented.
Okay, let's move it on to the great cards. And I like this question a lot. Since drop 3, there are no great cards. When are you expected to release more and eventually use them as rewards for certain users in certain areas of the ecosystem?
Um, it's a very complex question. Um, we have a lot of discussions about what are the best game mechanics in Battle Arena. And I don't want to play here the conservative person. But I always try to defend myself in terms of changes in the game, where until we have 10 times more users and we can collect much more data about the results. So the reason why there are no more gray cards at the moment is because through the referral program and the recruit a friend program, we need to provide those gray cards to new users and create a specific tournament model for those new users. Because there is people at the moment that they are super skilled, they know everything about the game, and they are really, really hardcore players. Those ones, they need a specific tournament to be challenging for them to keep playing Fever Battle Arena. But in the other hand, there is a person that comes here for the first time, and the game is a bit complex for someone that plays Battle Arena in the first 60 minutes, right? So we need to have challenges for both of these profiles, and definitely the gray cards will be always somehow associated to recruit a friend program, and at the same time for newcomers to have the first experience. That was the idea of the gray cards, you know was okay, there is someone without money to buy packs, or a bit like, should I buy packs or not? How can I try Battle Arena? And the idea of the gray cards was really to solve out that problem. Then hardcore Battle Arena gamers changed the concept, because you create hybrid decks with legendaries and epics and some of the gray cards in there. I also do the same. So, but that was like a second discover that happened after the original purpose of the gray cards, which was, as long as we have more people playing, they should have an option to try out Battle Arena without spending money. So we should not let let that idea go away, but we need to improve it as much as possible.
Yeah, indeed. We have a lot to do, and it's all about testing, let's say.
Indeed.
Third question for Fever Serrer. You guys have delivered a lot during this bear market, and those who are inside the community can see that all team members work at their limits and are very focused on the product itself. Don't you think that sometimes too much focus on what we do can close our peripheral vision and we lose perception of what the context in the which the project is inserted? Wait,
Um, well, I think when the things go wrong, we suffer more than anyone else. Definitely. Um, so if that is an issue, definitely yes. But I prefer to suffer a bit when the things go wrong in the market in general, and be dramatically happy when the things run well because it relied on us as a team, rather than to start to slack off and spend money in a bad way, and then if something goes wrong, we feel ourselves guilty. So I think the most important thing is our consciousness, you know, to be as much comfortable as possible that we are giving everything. Now, if there is a price to pay on that, definitely. But if we slack off, there is also a price to pay. So I prefer to pay the price for overcommit rather than to commit less and then pay the price anyways. So if there is a price to pay, I prefer to pay it giving everything.
okay. Next question, Catherine Logan, regarding IP, and I believe this one was already answered. The drops and Yankar currently are dependent on the existing licenses and the range to be traded. Do you expect that there will be a moment when RealFevr does not depend exclusively on this type of partnerships to carry out one of these types of features?
Okay, smart question. Um, so one of my biggest concerns as RealFevr CEO is to build a company that is dependent on third-party raw materials, to grow. And those raw material are IP, intellectual property. So the deployment of our lore is exactly the moment where we can somehow, start to offset or hedge our dependency on external intellectual property, promoting also our own intellectual property. So I think you will see a transformation in the next couple of months where you know external third-party IP will be mixed and merged with our own storyline, and we will try out once again and experiment a lot to verify what will be the market reaction, what will be the community reaction. So definitely is a concern. However, at the moment, IP is much, 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 much cheaper rather than 1 year ago, and we are here to acquire the best deals on the market, uh, with the best possible competitions, with the best possible players, for the cheapest amount of money.
Indeed, and we have quite a few very good partners, such as the Copa del Rey, Spanish Football Federation, and German Football Federation, which
Exactly.
was one that we closed recently. Now, another question is regarding competitors. We've seen Real Fever produce products from scratch and completely innovative. If on the one hand it stands out for tremendous innovation, on the other hand, it seems to stand out for not copying successful product features from other Web 2 3 projects. In a project without unlimited funds, don't you think that sometimes we need to know inside as a user current sports and gaming platforms? Benchmarking. Okay.
Well, we internally, this is like the double side of the coin. I don't think we should focus a lot. Um, you know, we should not spend time thinking about the others. Um, we should concentrate in ourselves and do our best, to be the first ones to deploy a certain type of product. So we've been the first ones with football IP. We've been the first ones dropping Italy. We've been the first ones, in with Copa del Rey. We've been the first ones to bring utility to the NFTs, and the moment that no one was solving out, we have Battle Arena running. We've been the first ones to create a wagering model inside Battle Arena where people can play against each other. Agree that needs to be reinvented, and it will for Chapter One. But anyways, it is already there. So for me, it's much more important we focus ourselves in outdone ourselves rather than compete against the others, because we never know everything about our competitors, right? We don't know their source of funds, we don't know who is the team, we don't know what they are going to do. And when you spend too much time thinking about the others or criticizing the others, I think you just lose your own focus. But in the other hand, of course, studying the very well use cases, the very successful use cases that the industry has, is something that will inspire us, to move on and to push ourselves to do better than the others. So definitely there are some references for us. Can give you one example: Gods Unchained and Immutable X. They have really a nice team working there in terms of design, in terms of marketing, in terms of communication, a lot of things that eventually should inspire us to do better. But I believe we should do our own path, and nothing is comparable in the end. And there is market for everyone. It's too early days. So I'm not a person in the end that stays happy with our competitors struggling, but I think they were too high, and they were paying too much for IP, something we never did. So our IP deals were always very, very, very conservative in terms of cash, and I think that strategy was the right one, because now they are struggling, and we are not. So I think that strategy is a very successful one. We should always, the majority of our time should be, how can we outdone ourselves, and not like just spending time criticizing the others. It's not my style.
Yeah, and we are so early in the market that all the projects that are in the market, they are all testing the market. We are still in this stage of testing the market, and as it's an innovative market. And regarding competition, the more competition we have in the market, the better for us, as we will learn and we will outperform ourselves to become better and better and better. And it's a source of inspiration for us to do better. And of course, we want the whole industry to grow and to be united. So there's not that kind of competition that sometimes the community sees between projects. That doesn't exist. We all want to grow together because we are more stronger together, let's say. Next question. First to blockchain. It's regarding Yankar. Could you describe more features that the Rogue Syndicate will be releasing?
I already spoke about
Yeah,
some of them. Um,
you did.
the gamified staking pools, other sports, the real Rogue Syndicate, about having people participating in discussion forums, special channel exclusive for those Yankar members. So yeah, definitely we will have them.
Next one, roadmap. What new features on the roadmap is closest to release?
Um, I think Chapter One will bring definitely uh, two very cool things. When you play Battle Arena today, there is just a challenge peer-to-peer, one-on-one option to play with tokens, and it's just RealFevr. So I think in chapter one, probably the coolest feature will be tournaments and survival mode. So tournaments is the playoff mode where people plays against each other up to the final, and the final has really huge reward. And the second one is the survival mode where you can play for an unlimited period of time, and as much wins you get, more money you will get. So those definitely are two game modes that the game is missing, and they will make dramatic difference in terms of engagement and attractivity of the game, to play daily basis. The second one is the peer-to-peer lending, and sometimes people um, asks, it's too expensive to start to play battle arena. We need to make a huge investment to have a good 3 stars or 4 stars deck. But if we allow you to, in one hand, recruit friends for your own guild, and you can share, lend a deck to your friends. If your friends play with that deck, you will get a revenue share from their winnings. I think we have an economy here to build. So what we want to activate is, in one hand, tournaments and survival mode for people to keep playing more and have the opportunity to win more. But at the same time, we want to complement the Recruit a Friend program, allowing you, today it's just a referral, but we are going to activate the guilds, and once the guilds become big, we activate scholarships. So, and we activate the tools for the people to create their own economies around our ecosystem, and that definitely is a big thing. Um, so you will be able to lend the deck in the website to someone. The person will get that deck for 10 days, 30 days, whatever amount of time, and whatever that person wins, you get a cut. So it's more or less like Uber or Airbnb, but for the decks. So people plays with it, and the owner will get the share from what the deck makes in terms of revenue. Um, so I think those two, technically in terms of product, but of course also the lore and the whole storyline that we are about to deploy is very attractive. And I think in a moment where we are in all time low, I think it's the best moment to do it, so we can have a fresh, brand, very flair restart, and that's what we have in mind.
Perfect. And I'm very excited for the survival mode. It's great. Now let's move to Mark Antoine. Um, while Web3 users suffered a lot financially from the bear market, especially those in gaming related projects, Web2 users didn't suffer as much. I believe that the Web3 projects that will achieve success will be those who are able to captivate Web2 members. We can already see some investment in Web3 influencers. What is being developed in terms of marketing for Web2 users? Do
I don't know if I agree here, and I explain you why. I think there are much bigger players in the market, much bigger than us, with that role, and with a role to onboard Web2 users to Web3. But we should also do our part. So our target, as a majority of our effort, should be crypto people, people already with a MetaMask. There are millions of them. So um, I think it's for Binance, it's for Coinbase, it's for Kraken, is for Valve when they want it, is for Blizzard when they want it. To take, because that demands millions, if not billions, in investment, and it would be surrealistic for us to do that effort, because you know it will not make sense. So our target should be crypto users. But also, of course, a minority of our marketing activities should be focused into Web2 users with a specific interest for card games or for football or for crypto, but they are not onboarded yet. And that's why we deployed Sequence Wallet a few months ago to allow people to have a decentralized wallet, but created through their Apple ID, Google login, Facebook, whatever. So there is just one thing that sometimes people misunderstand regarding to Web3, and that personally I consider a scam that as long as I am here, I will never accept it, which is if you don't have the private keys of your wallet, it's Web 2, it's not Web 3. If you have your assets in a centralized wallet, it's not Web 3, it's Web 2. And we can't call it Web 3, otherwise, it's a scam, because you are lying to the people. So, in our platform, I believe we should always provide a decentralized interface. Of course, we can use Google to create decentralized wallets, whatever, but it's something that we must guarantee to the people is that you know you are each of the users that is watching this video, you are the responsible to protect your assets. you know I don't hold what is yours, and I think sometimes in crypto there is this misconception, and that's why then FTX and similar ones happen, because people does not want to have the work to write the seed phrase. They prefer to trust in a third party. So I think it's a tough challenge. It will take a lot of time, and I think our short-term approach should be to bring as many crypto users as possible, and not that much explain all the loop in Web3 in 2 or 3 hours. It's impossible. This MetaMask is you need to buy BNB or you need to buy Ethereum. You need to buy the native currency of the blockchain. Then you need to buy Fever. Then with the Fever you need to stake there or you need to buy here. You need to sign a transaction. It's too much. You need to understand what is gas, why the price changes. It's too much information. So we prefer to focus in crypto users straightforward, and do a minority of our job, trying to onboard Web2 people. But should not be our major role. That is
Yeah,
for
for sure. Regardless of that, we still do Web2 activations. You in the past months you saw RealFevr present in the stadium of Sevilla in the Copa del Rey final, with where Real Madrid um, played against Osasuna. We were there present with a stand of Fever Battle Arena and Yankar. We also did it in the Allianz Cup final of Liga Portugal. We still do Web2 activities, and sometimes you don't see them, but they happen. But our main focus is, as Fred is saying, Web3. But of course, we know that we can milk in the same in both Web3 and Web2, and that's what we do. But we need to be efficient in where we spend our resources. Okay. Hope that answered your question. Now, this one is very similar to the first one, and we already answered. So let's move to the future millionaire. National teams. Is there a chance that in the future the project will also include NFT moments from national teams or events such as World Championships, etc.?
yes.
For sure. Is that your answer, Fred?
I can't say that much more, but it's a yes.
Okay. Moving on, what is the biggest difficulty in bringing new holders players to the project? And is approaching the new bull run if these difficulties will be resolved by then?
Yeah, it's a very nice question. I think we did one huge mistake, and I tell you what it is. We spent too much time or excessive time building product, compared to most of the crypto companies that they have no product and they just have marketing. So in the beginning of this year, we had the product development much ahead of the marketing development, and we need to be humble to recognize that. So what we started to change was okay, how can we shift this and how can we improve it? The first thing we did was regarding to the token, because if you take a look last year, in the end of the last year, the volume of the token was like $10,000 a day. That is nothing, and our market effort allow us to take the volume to 200,000, 300,000, and sometimes half a million a day. You know, so I think that is a fact that no one can ignore. The second one was regarding to the user funnel of acquisition for Battle Arena, which is in terms of customer journey is not perfect yet. So I've been in Turkey last weekend and with people trying to onboard, for example, in mobile, which is the majority of people to log in and create an account in RealFevr, um, there are still some difficulties. So before we start to deploy hard money in terms of user acquisition, um, we had to build things that we didn't build in the last 2 years. So if you take a look at our effort in terms of product, we are not bringing new games. We are not bringing new features in the games, just simple ones. But all the improvements are for commercial and marketing activities. Recruit a Friend is for marketing, lore is for marketing, survival tournaments in the game are for marketing, races are for marketing, everything is for marketing. And that is something that we changed in the end of the year, beginning of this year, because in the beginning of the project we were too focused in to have the best possible product, and it was too much. So we had to pivoting, and yeah, we need to admit that. What else can I say? It's like when the things are not running well, it's like you have something that no one has in the market, but in the end no one wants to use it. And you see other projects and it's like they have nothing, useless bag of shit, and everybody wants to buy. So what are they doing that we are not? You know, because what we are doing is correct, but we are missing something, and that's exactly chasing that missing that we are always. But also, let me say this: crypto has a lot of illegal activities, a lot of money laundering, a lot of people stealing, a lot of people cheating on in their friends, and this project could be much bigger if we would allow ourselves to cheat on you, to lie to you, or to steal. But we decided to do not do it, and I think it will take a bit of more time compared to other projects. But long term, I believe that more than ever we will be much more successful and sustainable in the future. So it's just an option. How do you want to play yourself in life? You know, and those values are unnegotiable values.
Thank you, Fred. I believe the next two questions can be answered together, and they are about when are the new abilities finally in the game, and well, when will the season one start?
Okay, so new abilities, yes, for chapter one, I can confirm it. They have been already in internal testing, so some of the testers they have access to it. And chapter one will bring new abilities. The only thing that I didn't want to do was to release new abilities before we have like 10 times our number of users at the moment. Otherwise, we are just once again delivering new features when the marketing is behind. So the marketing must be always ahead of the problem. Regarding to the season one start, we don't have an exact date, but it will be this summer.
Okay. Mario has a question regarding NFT utility. Will the NFTs have other utilities in the future besides gaming in Fever Battle Arena?
Well, in fact, today the NFTs they already have other activities. So if you go to our staking pools page, there are some staking pools that you need NFTs to activate them. So that is a second utility. However, we never spend that much time thinking about the best possible model for that utility. So definitely two utilities will be there besides Battle Arena. First, this reinvented staking model that will rely on NFTs, but also um, when the fusion comes out, um, definitely it will be another utility for the NFTs.
Yeah, when we are on the digital realm and digital assets, we can do limit. We have unlimited things to do with them. So there's a lot of potential in what we can do with the NFTs in the future. So let's wait and see. Now, Sports Lord CZ of Microcaps is asking. In every game, there is always more activity on the weekends. However, we have already seen some problems on these days that weren't solved until Monday. Is the Human Resources Department aware of this lack of people available on weekends?
Um, yes, um, we had those problems. Yes, the team is already aware, and yes, the problem is already solved out.
Correct. I can confirm that. Now, more about marketing. In most small projects, all marketing content is paid. Don't you think it's important to create an ambassador program that the members themselves feel encouraged to create their own content?
Definitely, definitely. That's why Recruiter Friend is there. And this question is pegged with the ones that I already replied. So definitely,
Okay.
completely agree with this one.
Okay. Judging by the amount of people that have been hired in the last bear market, the team has grown a lot. If on one hand there is more delivery, on the other hand there seems to be a lot of loss of information in communication between the different departments. Does the real fever have the financial capacity to continue to hire more people in order to optimize these process protocols?
I don't think there is a lack of communication inside Real Fever. I think eventually the communication for the market needs to be improved, and the communication for the community needs to be improved. Um, yeah, definitely, I agree with that. But I think inside the company, our levels of horizontal and vertical communication, I would consider them very, very good. Um, Regarding to the financial capacity, um, I don't think that at the moment we need to hire much more people. I think at the moment we need to protect the people that we have here to perform as best as possible, because our competitors are laying off, half of their teams or even more, and we didn't do any layoff. So I don't think we need to recruit more people. What we need is to deploy capital in marketing activities very wisely, but we need to spend money in marketing. We don't need to spend money recruiting more people because we have a marvelous team at the moment. Very proud of each one of them.
And we are very proud to have a CEO like you, Fred. Where marketplace V3. Now it's another question from a user that has 7 questions. It is planned to update the marketplace version 3, which will increase the features of the marketplace. Was it not implemented due to a technical issue, or are we dependent on other companies' legal issues?
Um, no, um, I think first was technical issues. It's not easy. Um, I think technical issues are solved out at the moment. Now it's just the right time to market to do it. I think Marketplace V3 will bring a lot of new things. First is to allow Marketplace to use other currency besides only BNB, and one of them is fever, of course. So I think in the next couple of months, even less than months, Marketplace V3 will be done.
And I can already say that the smart contracts for the marketplace V3 are already done and audited by one of the best auditing companies in crypto. So, in that regard, we are secure. Moving to the next question, white label. In the past, it was said that the technology that RealFevr is developing on Web3 could also be in the future used as a platform for other companies, sectors, etc. Are there any related short-term plans, or is this more for the future?
Regarding to Web3, there are no short-term plans to do that. Regarding to the fantasy sports platform, eventually that can happen. Let's see how it goes next year.
Okay, moving on. In recent months, the number of users of the ecosystem and players of Fever Battle Arena has stabilized. The last campaign by Zilli also did not help to increase the number of people who use Real Fever daily. What is planned in the short and long term to attract more people?
Um, well, I already replied. Recruiter friend program, all the features that we are implementing in Chapter One, tournament survival, and all the capital deployment that we will deploy in marketing to engage more users. So I think I already covered that question.
Okay. Regarding the ambassadors, the ambassadors that Real Fever currently has haven't been taking sharing about Real Fever as often as an ambassador should. What strategies are being discussed internally to make it possible to create more engagement with the community, more renowned ambassadors?
So once again, Yankar definitely will change that. Second one, the recruit a friend with a very strong and solid incentive, economic incentive program. We should fix part of this. So I think I already covered that.
Well, I think he's talking about ambassadors on an higher level, like athletes and celebrities, etc. He's more talking about that. But
I think people is not really well used to what happens in crypto. That is illegal. And if you take a look at what happened in the United States and Europe, at the moment we have like Andres Iniesta, John Terry, and a lot of other famous football players and celebrities being sued by local police because they are being considered um, advertising securities without permission and stealing millions out of their fund base. So I think for the next bull run, forget, because it will not happen in the same way, because people will start to be arrested. It worked the last time, and the only reason was because you know um, agents and even the football players, they were naive in terms of the deals they made. Um, it's like, I give you one very crystal clear example. Cristiano Ronaldo is doing a campaign for Binance. Binance is being sued by United States of America with a lot of criminal and illegal activities. I don't know if they are right or wrong, but you know, when where there is smoke, probably there is fire. And Cristiano has an immaculate career. If something goes wrong for Binance, it will definitely go wrong for Cristiano too. And that is something that people should be really taking care of. So if you take a look at ourselves, we have the connections with the football players, even as our investors. So Bruno Fernandes is still in our cap table, Sergio Oliveira is in the cap table, Checa is in our cap table, and probably a few more will come. But always with respect for their careers and not exploit their careers to promote scams. So as long as we are authorized and I have a paper saying um, you can do it, I will do it. If not, I will not do it. You know, um, once again, this is not a pump and dump that we bring Maradona alive we sell out like 100 million and we disappear with the money and Maradona is dead. You know, it can't be like that. It can't be like that. It can't be like that.
Yeah, and I think that what you can expect more in the future is ambassadors related to gaming, because we are now entering the gaming industry, which was something that we were not 2 years ago. And with the Recruit a Friend program, there's a lot of things that we can do in the future and bring ambassadors, gamers, for Fever Battle Arena in specific. And that is something that we are working on right now. Now, let's move to the next question regarding a partnerships. Making a partnership between RealFevr and Gerard Piqué, Kings League, to create moments and immortalize them and attract more fans to RealFevr ecosystem. Is it something that would make sense to happen in the future, similar to beach soccer that has soccer legends? Very
Um,
good question.
it makes sense. I can't disclose that much information, but it makes a lot of sense. Um, for Yankar, it would be perfect. Um, and I can't say it will happen, but we will give our best to happen, to make it happen.
Yeah, we are aware of what Piqué is doing with the Kings League. Game modes. There are currently only three game modes in Fever Battle Arena: the Free for All, and two arenas. Is it planned to have more game modes soon or after beginning of Chapter 1?
Now, in the release of Chapter 1, I already spoke about it. Tournaments and survival will be there. And a few more surprises, but I can't disclose everything. But tournaments and survival, yes.
Okay, next one is about the guilds. Pretty sure guilds will be implemented in Chapter 1. But will it be in season 1 or season 10? Taking into account that each season will last about 3 months. I don't know where the user is getting this kind of information of the timing of the seasons,
Me
but
neither. Me neither, but anyways. Guilds, well, let me explain the recruiter friend model. So you have the recruiter friend, um, step one, guilds, step two, scholarships, step three. Recruiter friend is the moment where you bring your friends to the ecosystem and you have a page where you can see how many people you brought to the ecosystem. In a certain moment, the step two will be activate guild. So there will be a new button, say convert to guild. And then a new admin panel of the guilds will appear where you will have multiple activities in terms of managing the guild. Once again, lend decks, share a vault, chat, etc., etc., etc. So we want to give the guild masters the tools for them to manage their own community and create their own economies, and that's it. So for me, it's a top priority, and as soon as we have recruit a friend working as intended with the right economic incentive, then we push it to the guilds.
awesome. Let's move on. What's the project vision for the next 5 years?
It's a great question. The first of all is to establish ourselves as one of the biggest Web3 gaming companies as a support stack, in this ecosystem. The third one is really to stabilize in more than 50,000 to 100,000 players daily basis in Battle Arena, um, and scale the whole rewards and the whole tournaments to the esports industry, but not esports, with LAN parties and physical venues and whatever, but really exploring part of what poker has today. You know, I think we can be brilliantly inspired by poker industry inside RealFevr and Battle Arena.
Next question. At the Martin perspective, what's being done to expand the project?
I think I already covered that question. Uh, so yeah.
Yeah, I can add that at the moment there's a lot to be done in terms of strategic marketing. We are currently undergoing a strategic restructuring of everything to prepare for what's coming in the near future. So you can expect an expansion on the community and communication efforts regarding to marketing. Okay, moving on, Paul, which part of the project are you most focused on right now?
Um, I think we are focused on everything at the same time, but I would say chapter one definitely, and everything that is connected with chapter one is our top priority. And at the same time, of course, Fever token. So Fever will also have a core role in this new whole ecosystem that we are deploying. Um, and once again, those two are our top priorities at the moment.
Awesome. Now, another one regarding KYC. Is the adoption of Web3 KYC passport system planned to be able to provide more incentives in the referral system and prevent a flood with bots?
Yeah, that is a very nice question. Um, at the moment, we are trying to set up a partnership with Ethermail because they have a very nice solution and a huge community to help us to solve out that problem. But I'm not the person who stands for a lot of KYC passport systems because crypto was invented to bring privacy to the users and not to have a Web2 KYC platform because I don't recognize that a good should be classified as um, as a financial asset. So if you go to a local store and you buy a traditional panini pack, you don't need to share your passport, and do a full KYC source proof of funds, whatever, to spend $10 in traditional banks. So why you should do it? Just because it is crypto, just because it is Web3. We are not an exchange. We don't custody any assets of our users. So you know, I think the borders should be crystal clear for everyone, and definitely, if we can find out the solution, protecting self custody, yes. If I need to enforce a solution out of self custody and the centralized custody, forget it because it's not Web3. You know.
For sure. Now, regarding Twitch ads. While a lot of collectors are already on Web3, the most part of gamers have never heard of it. Are you guys looking forward to capture more audiences of Web3 collectors in Web2 gamers? If the second one, are you looking forward for using Twitch ads?
Yes, that is part of the marketing strategy at the moment. Twitch ads, but not only Twitch ads. The ambassador program with people live streaming Battle Arena and everything else is directly connected to that. I believe if we should target Web 2 users, it's definitely the gamers. So we are completely on the same page.
Yeah, and for sure, Twitch will have an important impact in RealFevr, and we are aware of it. We will explore Twitch as we explore Twitter, for example, in a more consistent way and with a lot of content. So you can expect that in the near future, a more focus on Twitch with the Fever Battle Arena Chapter One, etc. It's for sure one of our objectives. Now, questions from Mendes. Dropbook. I'd like to know what plans you have for the future of Dropbook. It seems to me that the rewards were thought of when the token was on the rise, and right now is not worth much, as it is one of the few tools to support the NFT's price. Are you thinking of making any changes?
Um, well, for the drop books, there is one thing that at the moment has no utility and will have utility, which is experience and your level in game. As you know, one of the best ways for you to level up is through the drop books because they give you a lot of experience. So I'm going to answer you. I'm going to answer to that question all the way around. In, Instead of we just recognize if the drop book has a problem because it gives token rewards, but also gives a lot of experience, a lot of XP. And if there will be part of the game where a multiplier of your potential price will be connected with your level, so there will be an economic incentive for you to level up. And one of the best boosts that you can give to your level is definitely through the drop book. So I would say that situation would be immediately solved out because Dropbook is at the moment the best place for you to level up your account. So imagine I give you one example. I'm not committing with anything. I'm just giving an example. Let's say there is a prize money of $1,000 for X activity, and if you are level 10, it is 1,000 and no more. But if you are level 20, you have a 10% of increase, 1,100. If you are level 80, you will get 1,800 because it is connected with your level. So if at the moment everyone is leveling up their characters, but there is no real reward, XP does not have a specific utility. And what I want to do with your levels is really to peg them with the rewards and with the multiplier in your potential prize monies, and that's it. So when that happens, and it will happen, definitely drop books will have a huge utility as they are at the moment. So very simple.
Yeah, for those who don't know what a Dropbook is, it's like a sticker digital album where you stake your NFTs for a certain time period and you earn rewards for staking the NFTs during that time. Okay. Now, moving on to a very important feature, challenges and achievements. Hello, Fred. Congratulations for the initiative. The challenges and achievements are already on the roadmap since practically the beginning of the project. I would like to know what it consists of and when will it be launched.
So I think it was one of our hardest experiments was to understand how achievements and challenges could work. Because for those who are playing a lot, um, there was a moment where we created the daily mission, and we had like a lot of bots coming in to farm the prizes. So then we changed it just for 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, or 5 stars decks, and no longer for 1 star. And then we've been able to change it. So once again, I think the daily missions will be transformed into new challenges, and the rewards will be pegged to the highest level of deck that you play. So for me, there is one thing very unfair. If I play a 5 stars deck, why do I get the same rewards compared to those who play with 2 stars deck? So at the moment, the daily missions, they are equal to all deck qualities, and that should be changed ASAP because people that have 5 stars decks or 4 stars decks, they need to have a better incentive to keep growing. Otherwise, why do I build a 5 star deck if with a 2 star deck I get exactly the same rewards? So this is a problem that we want to solve out, and it is directly connected with the challenges. The achievements, it's different. We can't do everything at the same time, and World of Warcraft just implemented achievements like a few years after the release of the game, because you need a lore and you need a lot of things to happen in a game to create a good standard of achievements and a competitive one. So let's see how it goes. It is not our straightforward objective. We can't do everything at the same time. The only thing that I can tell you is the daily missions will be revamped to balance much better the rewards between those who play with 2 stars against those who want to play with 5 stars. Because the rewards for, let's say, imagine the 30 day of 2 stars can give you, let's say, $100, but the 30 day of 5 stars must give you like $1,000. So the reward versus the deck quality must be balanced and can't be equal.
Correct. Um, and if you take a look of what we have done so far in the past 2 years, we see that we have launched a lot of features, and maybe, if I'm not mistaken, we are the NFT collectibles project with the more features in the ecosystem, and we are improving every month, every year, and in 1 year from now we'll have even more of what we have today, and it's something that you really need to check. Now, another question regarding marketplace v3. Fred, we always use BNB in the marketplace. With v3 we are going to use Fever. What are your expectations about this change, and if it was a good strategy to use BNB until now?
Um, well, um, history is not made yet. It depends on what happened with Binance. Um, I don't think Binance can fall like FTX, but I also don't think Binance cannot fall. So what we want at the moment is to protect our company and offset the risk of Binance ecosystem. So expect a big investment and a big change on that, because we are going to support other chains, and the game will run on Ethereum definitely. Because, like it or not, besides Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum blockchain is the strongest in terms of store of value. Now, you ask me, but is it possible to do packs and drops in the model that we have today on Ethereum? No. It will be very, very expensive for us and for the users. So we will need to have two chains, one to store of value. It's like, personally, I don't want my best NFTs in BNB chain. I want to remove them from there. And at the moment, there is no solution. So we will provide the solution. And I want to store my best NFTs on Ethereum, because as a store of value is the chain that I trust the most. Now, in terms of direct to consumer products, as the packs and the drops and everything, we will need to have another chain with the cheaper fees. Polygon will be a good option, but it's being sued by SEC, so I don't want to step into problems. So there will be another chain definitely. I can't disclose which one is, because it's a discussion ongoing. It will be an EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, anyways, and there are a few new blockchains coming in with a huge traction, and definitely it's a wave that we want to surf. So if BNB was a good strategy up to today, I think it worked as intended. As a blockchain, it's very stable. Most of the people, they always have used BNB chain without problems. But I think in terms of support and in terms of growing, BNB chain is probably the one that has more scammers in the whole crypto industry. And the one that has more speculators in the whole crypto industry. And if you take a look, and I'm talking about facts and numbers, Ethereum has the best collectors in the crypto industry. That's where the biggest values are. So there is no reason for us to do not allow a migration of our NFTs, our moments to Ethereum, and play the game with Ethereum blockchain, because it's very easy and it is possible. Backs and drops, we will need another chain to operate with, and then it will be the market, and each user will decide what which chain will fit him the best, you know. But definitely in our marketing plan, expand to Ethereum and to other chain is crystal clear that we must do it for covering risk, you know, risk management, and at the same time marketing management.
Yeah, let me just say that when we launched the project, BNB Chain was the best option for the type of project that
Yeah,
we wanted to launch. And that's why we decided to go to BNB Chain, because at that time, Polygon, for example, was not working well, was with a
didn't
lot of
exist. Almost didn't
yeah.
exist.
And Avalanche, Solanas, etc., they didn't exist, let's say, and BNB was the best option at that time.
Now
Now,
we need to progress.
yeah, of course, it's all about adaptation, and that's something that we are prepared for. Community growth. Okay, this one we already answered, but we I see a bit of weakness in the Spanish-speaking part, and from my point of view, there are many people who exist investing in NFT and Web3s in that community. Okay, I can handle that one. South America and Spain and Spanish-speaking countries, it's one of our main targets. And in our marketing and community efforts, for sure, Spanish-speaking countries and audiences will be a priority. Um, and yeah, of course, we understand that, and it's one of our priorities. So I think that answers your question. Now, rewards. Do you have any idea in mind how we'll do for the automatic delivery of rewards? Similarly to, do you plan to increase the team that works with you in the short term?
Okay, this is a very simple question to answer. Why don't we have automated rewards distribution versus manual reward distribution? The first question that you should ask before this question is, how many times in the last 7 years RealFevr was hacked? How many times RealFevr had a leak? How many times RealFevr had critical or major cybersecurity issues? Zero. Zero. Why? Because we do it properly and we don't slack off in cybersecurity. The only reason why we deliver the rewards manually at the moment is because we are tracking how the rewards are being processed. We are tracking if we are or not being hacked, and if there are or not cybersecurity issues for us to cover. If we automate the rewards distribution and something goes wrong, we are giving rewards to someone else that is hacking us, or there will be someone stealing the assets from everyone just one single wallet. And that kind of automation, our chief technical officer is not comfortable at the moment to do it, and me neither. So there are certain processes that are already automated. I give you one example. When you play a game and you win a game, you get the tokens automated at the moment. If you remember, in the beta, it was manually because we had to track if that would be working or not. So we will automate a lot of processes as long as our cybersecurity risk is well managed. If there is a risk, and we are not comfortable yet, we do it manually. We apologize for the time that sometimes the rewards deliver takes, but trust us, because in the future it will be dramatically improved, as long as all the mechanism, all the back office, all the back end is security and safe. So manual distribution protects everything. I know it takes a bit more time, but at least there are no mistakes, and that's the idea.
So security reasons.
Of course.
Now, moving on to another question is related to the bear market. Any idea how we are going to deal with the bear market right now? How will we do so that it does not affect us significantly?
Well, it affects us. Affect us the token price, affect us motivation, affect us, because it's very strange, but human minds, most of the time, um, if you see Bitcoin at $1,000, you don't want to buy it. But if you see it at $55,000, you will buy it because you believe it goes to 60,000. So that's how human mind works. So it affects us because the engagement in general in Web3 um, is being reduced at the moment. So of course it affects us. But in the other hand, um, as you know, our financial position as a company is not weak, um, and as long as we keep building as we have been building, experimenting, failing, learning from fails, and do it again, um, I believe it's the formula to be successful. So um, it's like most of the crypto companies will disappear. A lot of them will disappear this year. We will stand. Definitely, we are not going to disappear. So we will keep doing what we believe is correct. Highest motivation, working 14 hours a day. We'll be always here when the community requests, trying to explain the things as best as possible, you know, and providing clarity, which in fact since day one we always did. So at least from RealFevr you can expect that we have faces, you know who we are, we know our capacity to deliver features, and I think track record speaks for our commitment. So that's it. If it takes 10 years, I'm comfortable, but we are not going to give up, whatever it happens. So it is what it is.
Yeah, we've been delivering a lot even during the bear market, so we never stopped or give up on our products. Now, daily missions and rewards. Do you plan to add new rewards in the daily missions? For example, new unique avatars that can only be earned in these months, what that will give value to the avatar and also add value to the account. The idea is to build good things from the beginning to later give it true value.
I already replied to part of that question, changing the daily missions. But also, when we speak about avatars, let me get this one. Um, there is no reason to do not let other collections to be integrated in our ecosystem. So if you want to have a cyberpunk as your avatar, why you can't have it if you are the owner of that cyberpunk? But I go even beyond. If you have that cyberpunk, that CryptoPunk, sorry, that CryptoPunk, why that CryptoPunk cannot give you a specific attribute, a specific boost into Battle Arena? There is no reason for that. So definitely the avatars will be integrated with other collections. I think Bored Apes and CryptoPunks are two very good collections, and if you connect a CryptoPunk or a Bored Ape or other ones that we can eventually negotiate into your account, your decks will have like 2% increase of whatever attribute, 5%, 10%, it depends. But once again, this loops back to Ethereum. It can't be done in BNB chain, so already explained.
New features on the roadmap. I'm fully supportive of the project, but what ideas do you have to solve the problems that currently exist in short term for reward distribution, roadmap compliance, and the new features that were promised a short time ago? And as always, long live to RealFevr.
Thank you for the comments. I think I already explained and replied to this question,
Yeah,
split it in other questions.
you did.
How many
Moving,
questions are?
we are on the 42. We still have like 20 to cover.
Perfect.
Johnny B. Good. Storytelling. We have been witnessing a narrative unfolding within the project involving Yankar, the Queen, and the Prophet. Is this an attempt by the project to align itself more closely with other NFT projects and their communities? Is it an effort to attract more collectors?
Um, well, I already spoke about the lore. I don't want to speak, really a lot because you will be surprised with every single new that we can provide. But I don't
Yeah,
think it's to align with other NFT projects. I think we should just open our ecosystem to have as many communities as possible connected with us. So I think we should open the ecosystem to other currencies, open the ecosystem to other collections, and let the market decide, of course, what they prefer. You know, giving always protections and special benefits to our own collections and of course to our own token. But to scale the ecosystem, we need to go beyond our own box and we need to let other boxes, to merge with us.
indeed. And we were missing a story behind Real Fever, and that's what we are working on. Now, target. For a long time, we have seen the idea of challenges and achievements that has not been yet implemented, which could attract many collectors. Okay, we already replied to this one. Season one, we already replied. Tournaments. What are the plans for an even more tournament before season one? And will there be a tournament for the top eight regularly played every month?
Um, I think we will not have specific tournaments up to chapter one, like the ones we had in the past. I think there will be other marketing activities that we want to try out and experiment and verify if they work or not. The previous model was not successful, um, you know, very exploitable. So we had to reinvent it, and I think there will be other solutions better than that model that we used in the past.
Okay, now about a league, Fever Battle Arena League. Have you thought about creating a league? Paid entry fee plus big prizes from you. Round robin matches in best of three format and top players 50% rewarded with prizes.
100%, it will happen.
Okay, that's right. Champions League. Will you be interested in Champions League moments? I mean, next season. What are you doing in this direction? Do you have any plans?
I think everyone, I think everyone wants season one. Season one. Sorry, I think everyone wants champions for season one as soon as possible. But I would say that champions is probably the most difficult football competition to have available in terms of compliance, intellectual property, protection of the player's image. It's very, very, very complex in terms of legal stuff. But we can have Champions League in Yankar. We can have a lot of competitions in Yankar, wherever competition, with the gamified staking pools as reward. That is possible and it will happen.
Yeah, Yankar will gamify the ecosystem to a whole new level, and we are very excited for that. Now, Fever Butler in a decks. When you increase the option to create more than 10 decks?
Um, never thought about it, in fact. Um, Never thought about it. Personally, I have like one deck. Yeah, I understand that eventually people can create multiple decks and try them out all at the same time.
Yeah, I already have 10, so I want that as well.
Yeah, Delfim, take a note on that and
For sure.
let's investigate. Why not? It's
Why
just,
not?
I think it's just a scroll down. Like we put the 10, we could put 20 if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, definitely we will investigate.
Now, another question is related to, have you thought about making daily quests only possible to complete in the Lisbon arena?
Um, Not the daily quests as you see them today, but we need to create the right economic incentive for people to play more Lisbon rather than free for all arenas. So I think the right economic incentive will solve up this problem. So first, we need to rebalance the reward distribution by the decks, and second, we need to create better economic incentives for Lisbon rather than the free for.
Sure. Lucas94 has a question regarding the ambassadors, which we already answered. Do you plan to engage ambassadors to work for the project, social media activity, playing games together, interviews, etc.? We already answered this.
Already, already replied. Yeah.
Yeah, with Fever Battle Arena, we are exploring that. Kawa Suarez, real life utility. One of the great value propositions of Real Fever is the ability to own moments from sports industry history, which really captivates sports fans. However, no strand has yet been launched in Real Fever on providing real life experiences to sports fans. Could there be a partnership with other sports projects that already have these aspects but have no use for their NFTs?
No, um, I share my perspective here. It's very, very simple. Um, I don't believe that we should spend time on material world when there is a lot of competition and logistically speaking is dramatically hard to reach communities everywhere on the planet. Digital space allows you to distribute value peer to peer, straightforward, with no logistical and physical operation. So I believe there are other companies doing that. Personally, I consider that a mistake because the digital world is much, much, much bigger, and you just know like 0.1% of all the things you can do in the digital world. So I think the only reason why people go back to the physical world is because it's their comfort zone, um, and they don't understand that much about the digital space. So we are explorers. We try to discover the right triggers into the digital space and not like create tickets or physical experiences or whatever. It's not our goal. It's not our focus.
Okay, Fred, sorry to interrupt you, but it sounds like your microphone is not working well right now.
It's not. And now?
Now it's better. Thank you.
Okay. I was too far away.
Building a strong community is one of the cornerstones of any Web3 project. Is any measure expected to enhance interaction within the community, especially in these bear market periods?
I
Uh,
think I already replied to that. So
Yeah, and you saw in the past we already are exploring platforms like Create, which is now called Zilly, which improve community engagement, and platforms like those will also be a priority in community management as we want to uh, maximize the community activity inside the ecosystem of RealFevr and to improve the social media engagement as well. Now, another question regarding fantasy leagues. Despite being one of the three pillars of the ecosystem, fantasy leagues, which have the advantage of being embedded in the Play Store, have been left behind in terms of development. Is it in the team's vision to give even more use to its token and NFTs by integrating them into the fantasies, even in a different format than the current one?
No, I think fantasy leagues is a very complex business to monetize, and I give you one single example. Um, it's crystal clear that it is legal to do Yankar. If you do token leagues into the fantasy leagues, I would say it is illegal because the level of compliance is completely different and the centralization of personal data is there. So that is a vertical that eventually I would like to bit more to be a bit more far away, and let's see what is going to happen with our fantasy platforms. But definitely, it's a vertical that is old, and we need to give him a second life, and let's see if it is possible or not.
Okay, next question is regarding partnerships. RealFevr has the technology to power NFT projects that are based on art and community. Are you expected to partner with these types of projects to take advantage of the marketing and community they have in exchange of being able to use the RealFevr ecosystem? Already answered.
I already replied to that question. It's
Yeah.
definitely a yes.
Daily challenges. So far, to be able to do the daily challenges, we need a considerable investment for it to start that. When is it expected that there will be changes to this system?
Um, I don't think at the moment the two stars deck for the daily challenge is unbalanced. I just think we are missing other game modes to complement the daily missions. So I think as long as you know, at the moment, if you make that investment just for the two stars daily missions, eventually it is unbalanced. But if you make that investment to have a very good two stars deck, and you can play survival, you can play tournaments, and you can play the daily missions, then I think the whole package makes a lot of sense for the pricing of a two stars deck, a good one. So I think we are more missing features to utility of a two stars deck rather than having daily missions with an issue at the moment.
Okay. The next question is regarding Yankar and new features without related to the moments. We already answered that. We are working on a new Yankar system where you will get access to new staking pools if you predict the certain goal. And yeah, this was already answered. Now another question regarding bull market. With speculation of a new bull market within 1 year, do you think that RealFevr will be able to deliver so much innovation and new features as it proposes to do so it can capture the hype of the next wave?
Everything we do daily basis is to be prepared and ready for the next bull run. And you know, I have no doubt that it will be our biggest opportunity. And if we surf the wave without anything 2 years ago, what kind of wave are we going to surf with the things that we have today? So I think it's a very simple and very complex answer at the same time. But that's why we work 14 hours.
Indeed. Another question regarding XP utility. One of rewards of Fever of Referral and daily challenges is XP. What is programmed into the utility of XP? Merge? Limited grey cards?
I already replied. I already spoke about the XP utility before that question comes up.
Okay, and another question regarding the chains, which you already answered as well. Um, Now another one for staking. One of the big topics that are on the agenda are airdrops and snapshots. RealFevr has already launched initiatives such as 500% staking on Fever for members who have previously purchased packs. On the other hand, there hasn't been a lot of hype around the low list. Could we see similar initiatives in the future with rewards, perks for top supporters across the ecosystem, eventually even with soul-bound tokens?
Um, Not spellbound tokens. I think we don't have a straightforward feed for it, and especially because the protocol is not mature enough for us to use it. But there will be the staking will be revamped, as I already said, um, but also some kind of rewards will be connected to Bitcoin blockchain because BRC20 is a perfect protocol to deploy specific NFTs into Bitcoin blockchain, and it should go to the hands of our most loyalty community members. So um, I'm not saying, not talking about specific collection, but I think we can run Yankar in Bitcoin blockchain and expand Yankar to Bitcoin community. So um, not Bitcoin community as a currency, but Bitcoin community as a blockchain. So that is definitely an experiment that we will want to do.
Awesome. Why not? Roadmap milestones not delivered. Why should anyone buy new packs or continue to invest in Fever when significant milestones are not being reached? Mobile version, increasing NFT and FBA demand, increasing volume of players. How do you plan to tackle these issues?
I would not say significant milestones are not being reached, um, but I can give proper answers to one of the examples. First, mobile version. Um, Mobile version, we already have an internal version working, but at the moment you play Battle Arena with your mouse, with clicks and drag, and the mobile version needs to be redesigned to use your fingers. That's what we are doing at the moment. Also, in terms of Google Play Store compliance, it's slightly different, but no one more than me wants to have the mobile version done. So we just want to do it properly, and we already asked Google information about how we could do it more than 10 times. We get no answers, and that's how sometimes Americans work. They don't give you an answer, and then when you do it, they decide if they want you in or if they want you out. So they don't commit with anything in terms of clarity. Um, Regarding to increase NFT, non-fungible tokens, and FBA demand, well, um, maybe you didn't notice, but the number of users that we have in Fever Battle Arena um, is increasing at the moment in terms of analytics. Unity analytics, it's increasing. Um, what in fact this question has behind is when the floor prices of the NFTs will go up. So that's the real question behind this. And um, once again, we can't um, we can't define our strategy based in pumping floor prices or pumping token price. We need, the only guarantee that I can give you is we will keep deploying capital and we will keep developing our product as best as possible and trying out and testing out in a very humble way what will work. And you know, I believe if I try out 10 times, my probabilities to be successful are less than if I try 10,000 times. You know? So what we do here is trying out, experimenting, delivering features. Some of them we fail, some of them we are successful, and we grow like that.
Yeah, we are not afraid to fail in certain things because we know that failing is a way to grow. That's our way of thinking. Regarding mobile version, I see that everyone wants to play Fever Battle Arena on the bathroom. So um, let's see. New users, we already answered this one.
Alright.
Token thoughts on Fever token current state and future outlook.
I think there will be like the token birthday will be in July, beginning of July, and we will have a local party for the 2 years of Fever, and we are going to release the new version, the V2 of Fever token. We are not going to change contracts, so safe side that will be the same. But in terms of mechanisms and around the burn, there will be dramatically huge changes in the whole protocol. Also, the lore of Fever will be revealed, which is why Fever exists, why Fever is needed, what's the storyline behind Fever, and I think you will appreciate it a lot what we are going to reveal about the token.
Very excited for that. Now, another question is related to beach soccer. What is the future of beach soccer sports? Because after the drop and integration into FIFA Battle Arena, there hasn't been any more development or utility. Can you tell us what's next regarding specifically the beach soccer drop?
Well, the first thing regarding to utility is in the 2, 3, 4 stars deck, there are very nice moments from beach soccer that they have a huge utility in a good deck. So um, the best Fever Battle Arena players, they all use beach soccer moments in their decks. That's the first thing. The second thing is I, I I don't think beach soccer is big enough for our ambitions, and it was good 2 years ago to do it. It was nice, but when we need to retarget and eventually compress a bit our investments, definitely we need to let some decisions, to go away, and beach soccer was probably one of them.
Okay. Now, a question regarding the Telegram community. It has been decreasing in users, and there is a concerning number of obvious bots on Telegram who have no engagement besides "hello, hi, good projects" in order to increase numbers within the group. Why does RealFevr allow this to occur?
Um,
Okay,
well, first of all, I'm not the person that likes censorship, and I'm always going to stand for open markets. And open markets, they have bots. The question is, do the bots are harmful for the people? If they are harmful, we ban them. So if there is someone trying to pretend to be someone official from the company, someone that tries to steal you, whatever, then we interfere with censorship. Rather than that, and we can't be naive here, everyone has bots around. The only question that should make is, are we paying and bringing bots to there? No. Now, if there is someone bringing bots to the game, bots were, it's like I play Call of Duty Mobile, and in every single battle royale, I think more than 50 persons are bots, and it's not because of that that Activision is not, growing, or Call of Duty is not being successful. So I think it's almost impossible to track all the bots, or even the persons who decide to bring bots. So the only kind of censorship that I accept to approve is if there is something harmful for someone, and as long as I know at the moment the situation is very well controlled.
Well, and a good reminder to always follow the official RealFevr channels and the official Telegram channels who only have the announcements and the chat. Make sure they are the real ones, because sometimes the fake scammers, they try to have fake Telegram groups very similar to ours with fake engagement. Make sure you are always on the correct channels and do not click on links that are not official ones. And don't stake fever outside Real Fever. Okay, we only have our staking website, fever dot staking.realfever.com, and that's the official one. Do not stake outside of it. Okay. Now, the last question about Zilli campaigns. Instead of authentic users and genuine interest, mass marketing partnerships with Zilli and third-party affiliates, where the new members come for rewards and leave the project, has been consistently the case. What are your thoughts on this, and how do you plan to change this?
Yeah, I think above all, this is an industry problem. So the industry in general is, the drive is always rewards. The drive is always, let's do something to get
Yes.
something in return. And people forget entertainment. It's like most of the crypto users, they don't come to crypto for entertainment, which is stupid, because entertainment industry in the physical world is a multi-trillion dollar business. So I think the fundamentals of crypto, they have been changing a lot in the last couple of years, and this is not the problem only of RealFevr, it's a problem of the whole industry. Once again, um, we are deploying an entertainment product, something that instead of playing Call of Duty, or instead of playing Counter Strike, or playing Hearthstone, or Magic the Gathering, or Gods Unchained, you can play Battle Arena. But also, instead of watch a movie of Marvel, DC Comics, or whatever, you can watch something around RealFevr. And instead of going to Bet365, or to 1xBet, you can come to Yankar and do something different. So the entertainment component needs education. And most of the people, they look at crypto just for something to increase their superheroes, you know, not superhero, but superhero as super currency. That's the only thing that why they are here. So once again, it will take a bit more time than expected. I'm super grateful for the support of our great community, and all the team and everyone around. But things will take a bit more time than what we were expecting. And once again, we should be in a position to lead the industry in terms of game design, and in terms of um, features, and we will do it in the right moment. Imagine that we were paying. I'm going to finish as we started. Imagine that we were paying like $100 to each new user to come in, and then there is a huge dump in the market of 40%. To be really a bad decision. We will just throwing out money away without any kind of return on investment. So the decisions must be done in the right moment, and and they will be done. So very simple.
All right. Um, we already answered all of the questions from the Twitter. Um, so the main AMA session is over. Do you have anything to say more, Fred?
If there are some clarifications in the community, on YouTube, or any other channel or Telegram. I'm also watching Telegram here. If not, we can move on.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so, and I can't see the shot on YouTube.
I think we covered a lot of questions
Yeah,
and doubts.
for
So
sure. And if there are not other questions, we can cover later on Telegram chats, whatever. We are always available. So
perfect.
thank you for being here. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, community. This was the longest community update so far, 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was crazy, but I think that we covered a lot of topics, and it was great to be here with you. Also, community, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and to follow the Twitter if you are seeing this for the first time. Always follow our official channels and join our community on Telegram and Discord. Thank you.
Let's build.
All right. Thank you.